Hello. Hi. Welcome back to my channel. Hi. Today's video is so exciting, and I probably say that in every sit-down video with you, but I have a little something to celebrate because we hit 10,000 subscribers and counting, and I'm so excited to just be on this exciting ASMR journey with you all. I truly could not be here without you and your love and support, your comments, subscriptions, of course, to celebrate 10,000 subscribers, but it's so much more than that. All the support, the love, everything. I just love this community. I love engaging with you all, and I wanted to do a little toast. I'm not a big drinker, but I do enjoy a celebratory cheers, a little bubbly, so let's toast together. Look, just came right off. And I will be opening this, hopefully with no noise. I'm going to try my best. Oh, that was quite difficult. Smells good. And I have this lovely Gatsby-esque flute. Can I pour it all? Ooh, I did it. We poured it all. I received this as a little gift. It's called Henkel Piccolo Rosé. It's a dry rosé, sparkling wine, you can say. Look how cute this looks. So I just wanted to say cheers. Couldn't do this without you. It's dry, but it's a little bit sweet as well. I really like sweet champagne or sparkling wine. Can you hear the bubbles? This is actually quite good, quite refreshing. And I love this little flute glass because it's like that coupe, I guess you would call it. I feel like my stomach is going to be making all kinds of noises after drinking this. I don't want to let the bubbles fizz out, so I'll be drinking that entire thing with you all, but cheers. Thank you so much. As you would say in Italian, you would say cin cin, or you would say, there's so many things you can say. Salute, cent'anni, 100 years. So thank you so much for 10K, 10,000 subscribers. It just was a big milestone for me when creating this channel, so I'm so excited to have you all here with me. You should always drink after you cheers, so that's why I had to drink twice. Now, for 10,000 subscribers, I wanted to do a video where I, of course, involved you from the community tab because I love doing that. Some of you missed the community tab, so in my latest video, I let you know to check that out. Hopefully you saw that, but either way, there will be lots more opportunities for community tab engagement and things like that. I'm going to be reading your questions for me. So I had you guys in anticipation of hitting 10,000 subscribers. I asked you guys a few days before I hit that for questions. So I basically said to ask me anything that you'd like, make it a little creative. I forgot to say, ask me 1 or 2 questions, so I left it open. So essentially and I will answer all of them. Just if you asked more than one, I'll probably try to be a little bit brief just so I can get to all of your questions. So I had to close the community tab upon filming this video, of course. So now I have all of the questions here. There's quite a few questions from you all, so I'm going to do my best to be brief, but you know that I'm not brief. But either way, I wanted to sit down and unwind with you all with a drink and a cheers for 10K. Maybe when we hit 100K, we will drink Dom Perignon or something super exciting. But for now, I have my little sparkling rosé, and I'm ready to read your questions for me. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, and sorry if it's taking me so long to get to the questions. Now, just gonna read them as I see them, so in no particular order, but seems like, of course, the ones with the most thumbs up are closer to the top. Sometimes I think that's how it is, so we'll see. So, question number 1. Not that I'm going to keep tabs, but this first question comes from Helena Billy. Hi Helena, I see you in the comments a lot and I really appreciate your support. Now Helena, you said, yay, I'm definitely participating this time. Here are my questions. Answer the ones you're comfortable with. And of course, if there's any repeated questions, I won't answer them. I think a few of you, when you asked multiple questions, some of them were repeated, but I'll try my best not to be repetitive in this video. So you asked a lot of really good questions, and to be honest, I forget everything you all asked, so this is going to be exciting for me. You said 1, what is your best childhood memory? That's really sweet. It would probably have to do with just getting my family pets, like any of the dogs we got. So when I was really young, I would always beg my parents for a dog. One of my best friends had a dog, and I would go over and play with their dog all the time, and I really wanted a dog, so I was always drawing pictures of dogs. I remember I made this little like Play-Doh like sculpture of a dog in hopes of luring my parents. Anytime we would go to a pet shop, I would cry for a dog. So getting that first childhood dog and the second and so on, those were the best childhood memories. So my first dog was a poodle. It was a little toy silver poodle. And our second family dog was also a poodle, but a little fluffy white one. And they came at a similar time. And when my parents separated, we gave my dad those dogs because we just felt bad for him and they loved my dad. And then I got my beautiful little angel, Summer. So, yeah, I was 16 at the time when I got Summer though, so that wouldn't be a childhood memory per se, but definitely when I got our first few dogs, I was young. I think I was like 8 or 9, so yeah, those were the best memories, just having a dog to take care of, and it was just the best. Next, what was your high school experience like? So Helena asked 5 questions. I'm going to try to be brief now. My high school experience it was okay. I would say I have a sister that's older than me, and I have a sister that's younger than me. So one of my sisters is 1 school year older, and one of my sisters is 4 school years younger. So I missed my younger sister completely, but going into high school, I had my sister in the grade above, which obviously made me feel comfortable because I was super nervous. I'm an introvert, so keeping friendships for an introvert can be quite difficult because I feel like we just don't grasp the concept of like having to maintain those friendships. So I was always better at maintaining the friendships with my sister's friends. So my sister could like talk to them on the phone every day and plan outings and whatever, and I would just tag along. So I just naturally became super close with my sister's friends, who have been, some of her friends have been like our childhood friends for life since like really, really young. So my high school experience was interesting because I, of course, was friends with a lot of the kids in the grade above me because of my sister. And I was a bit of an introvert, and sometimes I just preferred to eat lunch like on my own and things like that. I would say I had a good friend group, but I was not a nerd and I was not a popular kid. I was probably sort of in between, but high school years can be so interesting because I feel like they really like can form, I don't know, a sort of character development that isn't necessarily at all accurate of who you are as a person. It's just like this weird, like, thing, you know? But my high school was a very relaxed atmosphere. I went to a Catholic high school and had the uniform and all that, so yeah, it was a good experience, but I couldn't wait to get out of there and go to university and then get out of there as well. And then after university is when I began all of my travels, and that's when I feel like my life like really began. So the best years of my life were definitely after schooling, you can say. Number 3, do you have a job outside of creating ASMR videos? I feel like this question comes up, so I'll answer it now and then skip over it a little bit. Yes, but I don't think I should say too much just for like safety and personal reasons and things like that. But you can probably say that I'm sort of in the self-employed route, so I have a business and things like that. However, I would definitely consider making ASMR a full-time job if it ever became fruitful and, you know, like really, let's say if I hit it really big on ASMR, it's something that I'm so passionate about and I love doing it. Sometimes I'll see comments like, wow, you know, congratulations on hitting 10K, thank God you didn't give up and things like that. And I'm like, oh my God, should I have given up at some point? I don't know. Was the growth not fast enough perhaps? And maybe like most people in my position would have given up and now it's sort of starting to pay off, you can say. I don't know, but I do, however, I would love to make ASMR my full-time job if that were at all possible. But for now, it's just a fun little thing that I do and I love. 4, did you study something after high school? Yes, I went to university and I studied sociology. I got into that degree on almost complete accident, you can say. I felt sort of like I wasn't ready to choose a career path after high school and I wanted to go with visual arts, but I was such a slacker and I feel like I was late for my interview and it was horrible. I couldn't get into the visual arts for my own fault, reasons of my own. And so my first year was an undeclared major, which I do recommend, especially if you're not sure what you want to do with your life. Then you can take a bunch of classes and you can figure out what's best for you. And I took a sociology class and I loved the teacher that I had. She was incredible and it was very interesting. And so I pursued sociology, which doesn't have anything to do with my life at the moment, but I suppose it was just a degree that I studied for no particular reason. Number 4, oh yes, okay, so we already answered number 4. Number 5, what is your worst fear? My worst fear is probably just anyone around me dying, I suppose. That would be the worst fear. Even when someone leaves, or like, for example, my fiance just went for a bike ride as I'm filming this video, and if something were to happen to someone I love, that would be my worst fear. That's just pretty much it for me. I think anything else you can sort of get over. I mean, these petty little problems that can plague even me as a person, everything's okay, but losing someone I love, I don't know how to fix that. So Luna interrupted me and she made me lose my train of thought, but losing a loved one is a fear of mine. Anything else I feel like I could get over, but that is the worst. Thank you, Helena, for your love and support and for your incredible questions. They were so fun. I can already tell this video will be long, so next question is from Jonathan, and Jonathan said, here are my questions, but I first just wanted to say that I love the channel, Lisa, and your voice. Thank you, Jonathan. That's so sweet. And you said, describe your ideal home, maybe even show and tap on pictures. I don't particularly have any pictures to show you. I mean, I'm sure I could if I look into like my Pinterest and things like that, but it's more for like design and things like that. When I was little, my ideal home would have been like a mansion, because I would always drive around when I was young, even with my family, and we would go to really nice neighborhoods and we would look at these huge houses, and I would just dream of finding that. And I really wanted that so badly. And now that I'm older, I don't want to live in a mansion or anything like that. I just want to be comfortable. My ideal home would be spacious and full of light and open concept. I really like when the kitchen and the family room are like together and they're just like open and airy, because I like to cook and I like to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. But I want company, I don't want to be alone. So a kitchen, family room, open concept situation is so nice. It would be lovely to have a backyard, especially for Luna to run around in, and one day my children to play in. And just any home that's full of love is ideal. I love the home that I'm in, the condo that I'm in. I share with my sister, and my fiance's here, and it's just like this whole group living situation. But that will change, and I'll have to say goodbye to this bedroom, which I love. This bedroom was actually the first, fun fact, this bedroom was the first bedroom that I had on my own, because since I was little, I always shared a room with one of my sisters. I used to share them with my older sister, and then I shared a room with my younger sister for years, like throughout so much of our 20s. And then moving into here, finally I had my own room, and this bedroom is like incredible. It's huge, so I'm really fortunate to have this. I know that when I get a house, my bedroom won't be this big and spacious, but as long as I can fit in a king size bed, that's something that I don't have and I've never had. That would be fun as well. So I hope I answered your questions, but those were really fun questions. Then you said, what are some important factors in a healthy relationship? Oh, I'm really good at relationship stuff because I've had my fair share of experiences, and I have 2 sisters as well. I've given relationship advice and gotten relationship advice all throughout my life, so I love these kind of questions. The most important factor in a relationship has to be trust, because if you don't trust your partner, first of all, it's not even necessarily that there's something with them or that you should be suspicious about, but the problem is you. And you need to learn how to trust people. And if you're not trusting your partner, if you don't feel that trust, especially if you are a trustworthy person, and if that's unusual for you, maybe that's an indication that something's wrong. But also, they usually say that like the people who can't trust are the ones that shouldn't be trusted. And sometimes I find that to be true. However, I myself can be a quite possessive girlfriend. So I've had my issues, of course, with trust growing up, but that's my own problem. But I just feel like if you're the kind of person that has to be like going through your partner's phone, or like knowing where your partner is at all times, and like, I just feel like that's so unhealthy. I'm so thankful that I don't have those horrible habits that, you know, you can get like that when you're, especially when you're younger. I just think as you grow and mature and even get into more healthy relationships, I feel like trust should be something that is like almost like an afterthought. Like, it shouldn't even be important. You should just automatically trust who you're with. But trust is so important in a healthy relationship, and a lot of people say communication, which is true, but more than communication, what is so important, I would say, is understanding. Because what I've learned is you can communicate with someone until you're blue in the face, but if they don't understand you, you're going to suffer. Not being understood is probably my biggest, not pet peeve, but like the biggest like qualm in my life. Like the worst thing that could happen to me is to feel like I'm not being understood, like someone doesn't see me for who I am, or they misinterpret me or my intentions. So healthy relationship, trust and understanding. That's important. And of course you need someone who's willing to communicate, and you need someone who has that maturity so that you don't hold on to those grudges, or you wait for the other person to say sorry or whatnot. You know, fights are going to happen, but it's how you deal with those fights that really will set you apart and make your relationship healthy and have you grow from those experiences. So yeah, hopefully I was clear enough, but I could go on and on about relationship things. I just love it. Next, what was your dream job growing up, excluding YouTube? YouTube I never thought to be a thing at all, to be honest. So I didn't have YouTube growing up. My dream job, I think I loved animals so much that for a time being I thought being a veterinarian or something would be a good idea, but then when realizing what it takes to be a veterinarian, that's clearly not good for me. I would say that my sisters and I, especially me and my younger sister, the one who I live with, sometimes we would like do things where we would get like a little snack and we would pretend like we're on the Food Network and we're like showing you how to prepare this little snack. So we would get, for example, like a yogurt with granola on top, and we would show you like how we're plating it, and we would just pretend like we were like, like on the Food Network. So I think something food related would be nice, but growing up I also always wanted to probably be an actress. So it's probably fitting that I am acting for some roleplay videos on ASMR. So who knows? But those are sort of some things that I enjoyed. But thank you so much for your questions, Jonathan. Next is Seagram. Hello, Seagram. Thank you so much for your comments. I love interacting with you. And you said, hey Lisa, since you have interacted with your viewers so much, how do you think you're going to feel when your channel gets so big that you won't be able to interact with all of us anymore? This is a really good question. Honestly, incredible question, because sometimes I think about this and in a way I'm like, I hope that never happens. But then if that never happens, will I grow enough to the point that this could potentially be a career? I don't know, but I think I will always try my best, no matter what, to interact with all of you. As of right now, that's not a problem. It's super easy and fun to respond to all of you. And just so you know, sometimes YouTube messes with me. This is a good message for you, because sometimes I am liking and hearting your comments and then I'll go in to reply to them, and I've noticed on looking back at some past videos just by chance, I was like, I responded to this person, where's the comment that I left? Sometimes YouTube doesn't let my comments go through, and I've once responded to a person, I think like 9 times, and it didn't go through until I went to my computer, opened up the YouTube app, and then specifically wrote to this person. Sometimes the YouTube app just does weird things and it doesn't let me respond. I swear, if I've ever liked and hearted your comment, there would have been a response underneath, and if there wasn't, it was YouTube's fault, not mine, seriously. But yeah, I will find a way to interact with you if that were to ever be a problem. I would probably do these things in the community tab where I reach out to you and get your input, or I will try my best to at least heart all of your comments if I couldn't respond to them. I would just try to find a way to connect with you all, because having subscribers that are more like friends than just like subscribers it's really important to me, and I want to always keep that sort of friendship and relationship alive. And also, if I can't interact with you, maybe it means I can't even see that comment, and that terrifies me, because I love to know what you think. I like to know what you like about certain videos, and that way I can even grow and improve as well. And I mean, if someone just told me something, for example, like, oh, I really loved when you did this. I had like this toy in my hand, and they're like, it would be amazing if you had another toy and you could do it with both hands at the same time. And so I literally just went online and I bought the other toy so that I can incorporate that in a video. And if I didn't see that comment, I wouldn't know. So it's just things like that. But thank you so much, Seagram, for your comments. I hope I answered it to the best of my ability. That's a good question. Next is Yell. VDK, thank you. Yell, I always see you in the comments and I really appreciate you. And you said, can't wait for you to hit the 10K. You really deserve this milestone, which I did. I'm so excited. And you said some questions I just came up with, so you asked quite a few. So here we go. What skill would you like to master that you currently don't? Okay. This will be good to answer because I think it will put a lot to rest with, like, maybe speculation, because some people come and find my channel based on my Learn Italian videos, or like those videos where I'm speaking in my Italian accent. I was born in Canada. I have an Italian background. Both my parents are Italian. I did my 23andMe and I'm basically close to 90% Italian, 90, so I'm very Italian. However, I wish I could could speak better Italian in the sense that I know my pronunciation is pretty good. However, my grammar is not good, and that's the only reason why I feel uncomfortable to make a video in Italian, because I feel as though if I had to communicate throughout an entire video, that would be very hard for me. But if I could just take maybe, like, who knows, maybe like a poem book or something and read to you in Italian or do something in that sense, I think that would be okay. So I would love to master the Italian language because I have not mastered that. So there are some noises. I'm currently home alone with little Luna, and hi. I know that she's so scared when there are these noises, so I really do apologize. I hope my fiance comes back soon so I can hand her off to him. She's licking my hand here, but I'm just gonna hold her for a bit. I hope you don't mind. My angel, my angel. So you said, what has been the biggest challenges in your life and how did you deal with it? So growing up, as you know, my parents are separated, and dealing with that was a huge challenge because I was young at the time. Was I 14? I was probably 13 or 14 when they separated. So I was super young, and that was really hard to deal with in general, but just having parents that made it a point to, of course, be friends with each other, and my parents are like fine together. Often if I have like a birthday party that I want my family involved in, they'll both be at the birthday. They're very civil, very nice with each other. We have family chats and things like that. So of course, handling that with the help of my family and navigating that separation was really nice, and it was better than I thought. I think there's a lot of stigma that comes with like being a child of divorce or separation or whatnot, but that was something that I dealt with in an okay way thanks to my family and the support of course, having sisters and things like that. But as life progresses, there will definitely be more challenges. I had a lot of challenges in my life in terms of like school and finding my path and finding career, and these are things that still challenge me to this day. But I suppose you have to not take life or yourself too seriously, and you can truly overcome anything, and I think that's really important. The next challenges in my life will of course be, I'm sure, family related, as I get married next year and think about having a family, and balancing that with even YouTube will, I'm sure, be a challenge, but I hope that I can deal with that and overcome that. And as of right this second, my challenge is all the noise going on right now. Oh my goodness. Next, I know that you live in Canada, but in which city do you live? Okay, so to be pretty vague about things, basically you can say I live in Toronto, Canada. Are you into reading, and if so, what kind of genre, and who are your favorite authors? Good question. I'm so into reading. I typically aim to read about 25 books a year, and my favorite genre is fiction. I love reading like even sci-fi, fantasy, romance. Lately I've gotten into the more thriller, mystery things of it all, and I just love it. One of my favorite books is The Time Traveler's Wife, and it's going to become a series, I think, any day now, which is very exciting because they tried to make the movie and it was not as good as the book, even though it had like the best actors in it. It lacked for me, so The Time Traveler's Wife is my favorite book. However, a book that I read recently that I love, and I think it's also going to be a series, is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and that you can say is more in like the sci-fi, mystery, thriller element of things, and it's so good. And now I kind of like reading these like murder mystery books. I never thought I would be the type because I was always so into romantic books, but yes, and I apologize if I'm talking fast, but I feel like I'm so slow at answering questions, and I don't want to bore you, so I hope you're enjoying this. So yes, I love reading. Any reading recommendations you have for me, I would actually love that. Okay, next. What do you do for a living? I sort of already answered that. Do coworkers, friends, and family know about your ASMR channel, and what do they think about it? To be honest, the only people who know about it are my sisters, their significant others, and only recently, well, of course, and my fiance, and only recently my mom, for some reason. don't have a problem necessarily telling my mom or my dad. I'm super close with my dad, but he has such a big mouth that I feel like he would just tell other family members. And for some reason, I'm keeping this something like private to me just for now. And I didn't even mean for it to be this way. It's just sort of like when you put yourself out there and you make content online. I mean, it can go either way. You can tell everyone about it because you want support, or you can be very private about it and, keep some things to yourself. And I kind of like the idea that we have our own little special community, and I haven't told anyone, so no friends know. Just some close family knows, and that's it, truly. So, but one day I'm going to let the cat out of the bag and tell everyone what's going on for sure. I just don't know how to merge like those two worlds, you can say. So, I mean, any advice on that would be appreciated. I don't know why it's such a secret, but it feels very personal and private for me. I don't know why. I am a pretty private person, but yeah. And you said, thank you in advance for answering some of my questions. It's always fun to get to know you better. Thank you so much, Yao. Next question is from Asher. And Asher said, I think my questions would be, are you into any sports, or did you used to be? I'm not a sporty person by any means, but if I had to pick like a sport that I'm into, it'd probably have to do with like track and field, in the sense of like running or something like that, because I'm not very into sports. I do enjoy watching sports on TV. Just as for playing with them, I'm not good at them. And then you said, any favorite songs / singers? Yes, tons, but my music taste is very eclectic. I think I said this before, but I basically like everything except for country songs. However, I would say I love Kings of Leon, but their roots, you can say, are even in that sort of country vibe. So that's pretty interesting, but I like everything. I like rock music, I like popular music, I like house music, I like everything, honestly. I'm really not picky. I'm open to everything. Rap, R&B, everything. I just find that lately I've been listening to this more like chill vibe music that I'm really enjoying, so hopefully that answers your question. Then you said, what favorite thing about making videos? Oh, what's your favorite thing about making videos? And then you congratulated me, so thank you so much, Asher. My favorite part about making videos, weirdly enough, I didn't think that this would be the case, but I actually enjoy editing my videos because I think that it gives me like a chance to just like quiet my mind, because they're so quiet, of course, and just like get into this sort of like flow-like state. I of course love sitting down and making videos, especially this more casual video. Even making green screen videos are super fun. How I recently just got a green screen. Oh, that noise is triggering to Luna. Sorry. So I enjoy the whole process. I even enjoy lately, since I got a green screen, I even enjoy looking for backgrounds, which sounds so weird, but I feel like looking for backgrounds just like inspires me to think about video ideas that maybe sometimes I wouldn't have even thought about. Luna's in my lap. I feel so bad for her. She has such bad anxiety as a dog. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Asher, for your questions. I really do appreciate it. Next is from Johnny Cake. Hello, Johnny Cake. Thank you again for being in the community tab. And you said, congratulations, you deserve every one of the subs and more. Or you said, I can't think of any questions that haven't been asked already in the comments, but I'm looking forward to the answers. Hello and thank you. Next is from Franklin Way ASMR. Hello, Franklin. You have quite a few questions and I'm excited to ask. I'll try to be a little bit faster about things. And you said, who are your favorite actor and actress? Oh, this is hard. I feel like my favorite actor and actress is constantly changing. I loved Angelina Jolie for so long because she was just like, oh my gosh, she's just so beautiful. The ideal woman. And now I would have to say that who I'm like really into right now is probably Jessica Chastain. She's gorgeous, and now I will even just join in Oscar Isaac in that, because Jessica Chastain and Oscar Isaac in the TV series Scenes from a Marriage is like incredible. If you haven't seen it, you need to. It's so, 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 so good. And it's the kind of show that once it's over, you're like, oh my gosh, I miss those people. Like, I miss them. Okay, my fiance came back and now I dumped Luna off on him. I love having Luna with me, but she gets so anxious in this room when she hears noises. And for ASMR, I have to be super quiet. So as much as she would love to just be by my side the entire video, it's a little unprofessional of me to keep stopping and, trying to give her love and kisses. So yes, I hope I answered the actor and actress question right, but if you haven't seen the TV series Scenes from a Marriage, oh, you need to see it. It's so good. So they're probably my favorites right now. Next, what music do you like to listen to? I think I answered that, but since Franklin, I know you are Italian, I'm going to include my favorite Italian singers. And my favorite Italian singer, growing up as a kid and having my parents play him, is probably Lucio Battisti, and my favorite song is Giardini di Marzo. So good, so that's a bonus question for you. Next, is there any food you don't like at all? Interesting. I'm not a picky eater at all. I will eat almost everything. I'll try almost everything, but now for just ethical reasons, even though I've been down this road before, I've gone over the fact that I'm a hypocrite and I pretty much would be better off if I was just like a vegetarian just for my own sanity. But however, I have 3 foods that I will not eat just for sadness reasons. One is veal. Eating veal is so sad, and I learned that the hard way. On a trip to Tuscany, we went to a wine tour. We went to this farm. I knew always that eating veal was bad, but it's only when I saw the baby cows and how beautiful they were that I was like, how could people eat veal? It's horrible. So I personally just don't eat veal anymore. I don't miss it at all. It's not like it's something that I would eat on the regular anyway, which is why it was easy to give up. I don't like lamb either. However, I just don't want to eat any baby animals, so I won't eat lamb either. And also, after watching the movie My Octopus Teacher, I don't eat octopus anymore. And it's like to the point that after watching that movie, when I would see it on a menu, I would actually get sad. So I understand like the vegan rage, how like vegans can be so angry at people who are not that way, but that's not a way to get someone to convert. And I mean, I can see both ways about it because there's arguments for both sides, so who am I to judge? I'm going off on this whole ethical debate, but those are like the 3 foods I won't eat. And now the specific food that I don't particularly enjoy, even though I still eat it from time to time, is olives. I don't like olives. Especially I don't like olives when they're warm, so like I don't like olives on a pizza. I don't like olives. Even though I kind of like olive bread sometimes, or olive tapenade. It's really weird, but I don't like olives. I just don't enjoy it. Oh, especially in a pasta. Like a puttanesca pasta. I hate olives. It's the one food that I just don't enjoy eating, which is so interesting considering I'll still eat it from time to time. So yeah, it would have to be olives. Okay, next, a trip that you would like to do in the future. So, my fiance and I went to Paris and France just in general recently, where he proposed to me, and it was incredible. And I didn't want to take him to Italy in the time of like the heavy time of the pandemic. And I just hope one day, probably next year, I want to show my fiance Italy, particularly Rome, in the way that I know how to show someone Rome. Because I did technically live there on and off in my life for 1 year, and I just feel like I know how to show someone Rome really well. And I would love to bring my fiance to Italy because he's never been to Italy, and if it wasn't for this damn pandemic, we would have gone already. So definitely, even though I've been 1,000,000 times, I would definitely want to go again to Italy. It has my heart. All of Italy is just incredible. Next, what do you look at the physical appearance of a man? What do you look at the physical appearance of a man? Oh, so maybe what physically attracts me to a man? I would have to say I'm more of a personality person. So like, we all know that we can be attracted to someone based on their looks. But if you meet someone and their personality is horrible, the attraction goes out the door, especially for me. So for example, I am like attracted to someone who doesn't take themselves too seriously. However, if we're talking about physical appearance, it's hard to say. I like a nice smile, like a nice welcoming smile. I don't know. If you saw any of the people that I dated in my past, they all look so different from each other, and they are all fairly different from each other. So I mean, it's safe to say I don't particularly have a type. So it just depends. I feel like personality mixed with like just being attracted to someone in general, just that for me speaks volumes. I mean, I, for example, am attracted to Conan O'Brien because he's just so funny, So I think, yeah, I look at more personality than physical appearance for sure. Is there a video of another ASMR artist that you would like to have done? Wow, that's a difficult question. Is there a video of another ASMR artist that you would have liked to have done? Oh, okay. It's not that I would like to have done a particular video, but there is an ASMR artist, and that is, all know who I love on ASMR, fine, but that being said, there's an ASMR artist, Atlas ASMR, and when I saw his green screen videos, he did one, I think, like Man on a Train, and just the fact that it's like so well done. Green screen is something that I struggle with because sometimes I'm like, oh, this video came out so good, I've mastered green screen, and then I'll go to edit my next green screen video and I'm like, it looks awful, what is wrong with me? I think Atlas has just mastered green screen and the whole like immersive vibe, and like sometimes I see ASMR artists and they're so like relaxed and they seem like they have all the time in the world, and I by nature am like a fast talker, so I feel like sometimes when I see an ASMR artist that seems so calm and cool and collected, I'm like, oh my gosh, slow down and be more like them. But yeah, so that's just a shout out to Atlas ASMR because his content is like incredible. I wish I could do anything that he's done. His like green screen work is incredible. What advice would you give to an ASMR artist who still has a channel with few views? Oh, okay, so if you're these days I got into ASMR when I guess the niche for ASMR had like exploded, and like everyone and their mother has done ASMR, so definitely getting into ASMR. If I would have started the channel when I kind of wanted to 6 years ago, it would have been much simpler back then. So now getting into ASMR, if you're a channel with a few views, understand that that is completely normal because ASMR and just all of YouTube in general is oversaturated with a lot of content. What will set you apart from other channels is, to be honest, is to be consistent. There's a saying that's like, hard work. Oh gosh, let me try to find this. I think I can find this saying in 2 seconds. Let me just think about it. Oh yeah, it's hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. What does that mean? This doesn't mean that you're not talented. This simply means that you need to work very hard. And I think that you need to be consistent, and something that has really helped me, not necessarily even just my channel, which it has probably helped, but what's helped me, a procrastinator, is giving myself the rigid rules of an upload schedule. So whether you can make content once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, however, give yourself a schedule and say, for example, I'm going to upload every Tuesday no matter what, and upload every Tuesday. I think YouTube favors algorithm. And so I feel like being consistent in your uploads not only gives you and your viewers a good idea of when to film, what to expect, when to watch, the kind of safety of having a consistency. Like, think about your favorite channels that you watch. Do you love watching someone who uploads once in a blue moon, or you don't know? Maybe, but maybe not. I think what people love is having the consistency and the security of having someone constantly upload. So I would say keep going. Just give yourself the ability to be more consistent, and also expand on the kind of content that you do, because you never know what's going to be big for you or your channel. So try to diversify the content that you upload. So for example, if you're an ASMR channel that specializes in a niche, maybe branch out a bit and see what happens for you. I'm probably a channel that needs advice, so it's hard for me to give advice, but I think that's the best that I could come up with. So thank you so much, Franklin Way ASMR. Next is from Akita. Akita, you said congratulations on your growth. You've put in a lot of hard work. Thank you. Some random questions I think would be fun to answer is, if you had to pick one Skittle color, which would you pick? And if you had to pick one M&M color, what would that be and why? Interesting. Okay, so Skittles are so delicious, and I love the red ones just because they taste particularly good. Now I know that the worst food coloring is probably red and even blue food coloring, but those colors always taste the best. So in terms of M&M color, there's like that movie with Jennifer Lopez and Matthew McConaughey, I think, where she eats like the brown M&Ms because she says they all taste the same, but the brown ones are like the least artificial because they're just brown, which is like the color of chocolate, which I'm sure they dye that anyway because you have to dye the candy coating, but that's funny. I think I would just still pick red. I just like it. Next, do you prefer sweet or savory? Definitely sweet. I'm a huge sweet tooth and it's like to my detriment. So definitely sweet. Next, you said, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? Well, in Canada, ice cream and gelato are very different. So if I had to go with ice cream flavor, I suppose I would pick like cookie dough or something really good. In terms of gelato, I would say anything nutty like pistachio. So like pistachio, nocciola, anything like that. Pistachio, hazelnut, things like that. More on the like, anything creamy, I suppose, is really good. I'm not necessarily a fruity ice cream kind of person. What's the worst trouble you've ever been in? The worst trouble I've ever been in. I feel like I've gotten into some trouble, I just can't really remember. I think once my sister and I, for some reason, we crank called like 911. So stupid, honestly, so dumb. When you're a kid, you just do stupid things, and I feel like the police officer specifically, like even though we hung up immediately, we didn't crank call, we called and we hung up. The police officer came to our house, and he came into our house and he lectured us. And obviously, I would never do something like that. We were just so silly, we weren't thinking, and we made up this whole spiel, like this whole story, like, oh, I had called 911. I think my sister was like, oh, I had called 911 because my sister fainted, and I like pretended to look really pale and horrible. And she's like, and then we got, she woke back up, so then we like stopped calling 911. I don't know, it was just so stupid. So I haven't really been in any like particular trouble, but that's probably like one of the most embarrassing situations I've been in. Like having a police officer come to your door and lecture you because you crank called them is so dumb. Oh my gosh. In a world where any hair/eye color of the rainbow is possible, what combo of colors would you want to have? I've always fantasized. I don't know what color my hair is. Some people would just call me a brunette. My sister, who has darker hair than me, sometimes just calls me a blonde, which I know I'm not blonde, but I've always liked like really black hair, even like bluish black. And if I could have any eye color, I suppose it would have to be like violet, like a purple eye color. I think that would look very striking. Oh, as I hit my glass. Let's have a sip. The bubbles are dying a little bit. Next. Oh, and that's all you asked. Thank you so much, Akita. Those were really fun questions. Very fun. Thank you for asking me. Next is Mariana and Dawn. Mariana, thank you for asking. And you said a few questions for me are, what languages can you speak and which one would you want to learn? I kind of already answered that, but I can speak, of course, English. Of course. But I can also speak Italian. I just feel as though I wish, as I've said many times, I wish my grammar were better. I wish I could fluently speak Italian. And I suppose, which one would you want to learn? I would probably say I would want to learn Russian just because my fiance is Russian. So my battery died as I was saying that, so I apologize if the scene might look a little different. But yeah, as I was saying, I would love to speak Russian because my fiance is part Russian and him and his family communicate in Russian. And I would love to be nosy and know what they're talking about. And I feel like it's a pretty useful language, to be honest. However, I heard someone say, who was it? It was on a podcast, and this guest said, I think his relatives were Polish. And I think he was saying that he enjoys not knowing Polish because his wife speaks Polish with her family. And he's like, when they speak Polish, that gives me a break. And I think I'd rather not know some things. And hearing that was kind of cute, so I suppose I would feel the same. And then if I had to choose a language other than those ones, I think I would like to know French, just because in Canada, I should have known a lot more French than I do. That's the language that we study in Canada, is French. And I do think French is a beautiful language, so yes. Next, what was your dream career? I kind of answered that a little bit, but I suppose, yeah, I always had the idea that I might have been like a really good actress. And I would say, if only my parents put me into acting classes or took me to acting school or something like that, because I really liked it. I think in high school I took drama class 1 year as opposed to art class, just to branch out, even though I loved art. And the next year I took art instead because I just loved art. But I think my drama teacher was very mad that I didn't continue with drama, which is interesting, so maybe I should have. Then you said, do you tend to remember more often good memories or bad memories? Interesting. It depends on the circumstance, because I can be a very nostalgic person, and sometimes I have this nostalgia for, like, you know, the times before and just romanticizing past experiences and things like that. However, also sometimes the things that come into my mind when at like 3 a.m. when you don't want to think about something is just like the stupidest thing you've ever done. You know, particularly like with a boy. For me, for example, just like acting like I'm just a complete idiot in front of someone. These memories will come back to haunt me sometimes. So I suppose that is a good mix, although I think I'm trying to just focus on the good times. I don't think it's good to just remember too many good or bad memories in the past, because it sort of prevents you from like living and enjoying your present. So I try to focus on the good things now, I suppose. However, you know, I'm very nostalgic and things like that. What's an animal you don't like? There's no animal I don't like. I mean, there are people I don't like, but there are no animals I don't like. For example, this is funny, I didn't think I would talk about this, but today my sister and I went for a walk and we saw, oh, it was horrible, the day before today, so yesterday, my sister, we do walks every day, so we saw, for some reason, oh, so many horrible things happened. Do I really want to get into this now? I'll just quickly try to summarize it. We saw under a tree this like wild looking rat thing that we realized is called a vole. I think it's called a river vole. I think that's what it's called. So it's like this little fluffy looking, almost like hamster mouse situation. And we saw one dead one, and when it was dead it looked more like a rat, so we were confused at the moment. And then we saw one little fluffy one near it, and he wasn't being that responsive, but he was like out in the open, and it's weird because he wouldn't be out in the open anyway. Oh gosh, I don't even want to get into this all. I didn't think I would talk about it, but so we had to, of course, eventually walk away, and we didn't want to mess with nature. And this little tiny wool eventually looked like it was kind of like going a little bit to hide. So my sister and I walked away, and we felt so sad that, like, we said the sibling, we don't know if they were siblings or whatever, but we said it was so sad that the sibling died and the little guy was near the sibling. But I feel like I noticed that the little guy near the sibling, like, didn't really look like it was in good health. And we just noticed this on our walk at this park that we go to often. And so I was thinking about it often, but then, like, researching it, it said that these things can carry things like parasites and you can mix it to your pets and things like that. So, of course, I don't want to mess with nature. I didn't want to bring this thing home, even though I kind of did. And it kind of did a little bit eventually sort of leave us, kind of. It went, like, further off. I'm getting, like, sad talking about it. So, anyway, long story short, the point is today we went back to the park because I wanted to see if the dead one was still there or if an animal took it for some reason. I don't know why I had this desire, maybe just for myself to know that it was really dead. Long story short, the dead one was there, and then my sister noticed it before I did, but she was like, oh my god. And, like, pretty much in the spot very near the sibling that died was the other little guy, and he died. And, like, my sister and I, we just immediately burst out crying. And I was so depressed about it. And we cried pretty much our entire walk. And then what I did was I took, like, 2 sticks. And I took the sibling that I knew was for sure dead. I didn't want to touch the little guy that, who knows when he died. Maybe right after we saw him yesterday. Maybe recently. I didn't want to touch him just in case. I can't see a creature suffering. I just can't. I just don't like that. So I took the guy with 2 sticks and I put him, like, right next to the little guy who just recently died. And I put little flowers near them, and I put this little stick and I sort of made them a little grave. And I was, like, crying the whole time I was doing it. I could cry now. I don't know. I don't know why this, like, really affected me emotionally. My eyes are getting watery. But yeah, basically, I think it's because my sister and I, we saw it when it was alive, and then knowing it died and knowing that maybe I could have helped this little guy. And if you look up bulls, they have really short lifespans, but we're not sure what happened to these little guys. My sister took a picture. I can show you it. You won't be able to see much, but I put the little flowers, which are just little weeds that were growing nearby, just near the little dead little guys. It's hard to understand, but knowing that perhaps we saw the one alive yesterday, and perhaps he was, who knows if he was, like, breathing his last breaths and we just didn't understand it at the time. And then another thing was, we were at that same park and we saw a mother duck with 2 ducklings, which is kind of rare because they're supposed to have more than 2, and it was so beautiful. And we're like, oh, Mother's Day is so close. This is so beautiful to see. And then when we went back yesterday and we saw the one dead bull, we also noticed that the mother duck had 1 duckling, not 2. So that made us sad. And then when we went today, we were hoping to see the mother duck with her duckling, and we didn't see anything. So now we're just traumatized. So I don't know why I got on this tangent. You just asked me what animals I don't like. And I started talking and crying about a river vole and a duckling. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm a little bit emotionally unstable when it comes to animals and animal suffering, but I've always been that way. I would always cry when I would see commercials on TV about dogs that need rescuing, and I just have this, like, horribly vulnerable heart for, like, creatures. I suppose because they're so innocent. I don't know. Sorry for getting on that tangent. You're probably thinking I'm drinking and crying and I'm just such a mess, but it's been an emotional day for me in that sense. I don't know. Next, what is something you hate when people do? I mean, aside from the obvious, like hating if someone were to be cruel to an animal or anything like that, I think I hate when people are, like, very passive aggressive with people. Like, you'll say something, like, nice, but it's really an insult. or like you're trying purposely to like jab somebody or like nitpick somebody. I just hate when people are like that. I mean, I suppose there's so many things that can bother me, but that's the first thing that came to mind. I just hate feeling like, you can't be at ease with someone, like you have to walk on eggshells around them. I just suppose I hate that. So it would be so nice if we were less judgmental and critical of each other as humans, but I suppose we can just be that way. Is there any word in any language you simply just hate for no reason, like it's normal and frequently used, but it scratches your brain when you hear it? For some reason, I don't know why this is coming to my mind, but for some reason I don't like some trendy words. Like, for example, I hate the word baddie. Like, if someone calls like a girl or girls call each other a baddie, I don't know why I don't like that. I feel like it's better to just be a goodie. Like, why do you want to be a baddie? This is probably just me being super old, but I suppose I don't particularly like trendy words or people who go so far as to be trendy in their vocabulary. And I just find it's better to just use proper vocabulary as opposed to trendy things. I find it so much more attractive in someone when they can just use proper, grammar, I suppose, rather than like saying trendy or slang words. That's what's coming to me right now at the top of my head. Thank you, Mariana, for making me cry. I'm kidding. I didn't really get emotional. You should have seen me. My sister and I were crying at the park. I had sunglasses on, so I was happy, but I pretty much cried throughout my whole walk, and we were going home. I called my fiance and I cried on the phone, and then he asked me in person, and I told my other sister what happened, and I cried in front of her. I just kept crying. Why did this river fall get me so emotional? I don't know. Next question is from Sam Wilkshall. Sam Wilkshall. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And Sam, you said, love your videos. My question is, when was your first experience with ASMR? Good question. Probably not a lot of people know this. I think I bravely said this in my first ever ASMR video. But my first experience with ASMR was really, really young. So I suppose you mean like experiencing it rather than watching it on YouTube. My first experience was when I was really, really young, and my mom would take us to this boutique, and it was nearby. We would walk there with my mom all the time, and this lady worked there. She had an accent. I think she had maybe a Portuguese accent. I can't remember. Some kind of European accent. And she was like wrapping the clothes, like the boutique clothes, with like the paper, like putting them in bags, and she was so slow about it. But I think slow things can be really nice sometimes because it's like almost like trance-like, and she just had this accent about her. And I remember telling my sister after, I was like, do you ever get like tickly when she talks? Like, do you ever feel like you're ticklish when she's talking? And my sister's like, what are you talking about? No. And I was like, I don't know, like sometimes her voice just makes me feel so ticklish, like I have to walk away when she's like talking or doing something. And my sister's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. So that, and now growing up and realizing what ASMR is and what it's all about, that's exactly what I was experiencing was ASMR. It was like this like tickling sensation that was like, I almost had to like leave because I was feeling so ticklish when she would talk or do things. So that's my first experience that I can specifically remember experiencing that ASMR feeling and not having a name to it, So thank you for your question. I really liked that, Sam. Thank you so much. Next question is from Sicilian Lover. Ciao. I see you in the comments. Thank you so much. And you say, hello, Lisa. I would like to ask you to talk about someone, family, friend, teacher, etc., that you esteem in a special way, and to tell the reason for the example because he or she has helped you in a difficult moment in your life, or taught you to become good at some activity or whatever. Ciao. Ciao. That's very sweet. Let's have a little cheers. I suppose I could talk about anyone in my family, any of my family members. Really, I could talk about my fiance. I could talk about everyone because everyone means so much to me, and they're so sweet to me. And I have had some special friends and teachers and things like that. But if I have to talk about someone, it would be my sister, Jules. And my sister is like, to be honest, she's like the greatest person in my life. Not that anyone else isn't. They're all the greatest people in my life, but my sister and I often joke that we are like twins separated at birth, because we're of course not twins. She's 3 years and 3 months younger than me. Not quite 4. But anyway, so my sister and I, we've lived together our whole lives even now, and I know that when my fiance and I get married, we already have plans to have a house and all that. We have all that planned, but my sister and I, she's told her boyfriend, probably soon to be fiance, that she's like, we have to live on the same street, and if not the same street, in the same block, and if not the same block, in the same neighborhood. But that's as far as we can go from each other. And we're so close, and like we have just this like really special bond where we just like, she was on the walk with me and we were both crying. We just have this like really emotional connection. We can talk about anything and we sort of feel the same way. And we did that test, that, is it called ENT test or something, that personality test, and we have the same personality type. We're both mediators, and yeah, we both just like feel the same feelings and emotions. We're both artistic. We're so similar. We're also different to the point that we can learn from each other and complement each other. But if I have to talk about anyone, it's her, because like she is my sister soulmate. You know, my life would just be so different if it wasn't for my sister. And we've always done things in life, and she's helped me through everything. She's helped me. She's been there for every breakup of mine, and just every life choice and path along the way. She's always been there. And so yeah, she just makes me a better person, you know, my younger sister Jules. So without going on too much, I would just have to give a special shout out to my sister. And that's why I suppose when I do have children one day, I really want to have more than one, because I feel like having siblings is so important. So yeah, just for my sister. So thank you for that question, Sicilian lover, and thank you for always commenting. I really appreciate you. Next comment is from CAIO. I almost want to say ciao, but it's spelled differently. Graco Zeppelini. And you said, if you had 2 weeks to travel through Italy, what cities would you visit and when? Summer, winter? A beautiful question. 2 weeks is a really good amount of time in Italy. I don't recommend any less. However, my first experience with Italy was seeing Italy for 2 weeks on a Contiki tour, and we did like every city. And then after, the 2 weeks after, we settled down and I stayed with relatives and so on. So I was in Italy for a month. And ever since then, it's been like, you know, since 2010 until the pandemic hit, that I would basically go every year, sometimes multiple times a year. And so if I had 2 weeks to travel through Italy, I feel like a beautiful time to go is the spring or the fall, because it's not too hot and not too touristy. However, I understand that some people can only go in the summer months, and that's fine too. There's just going to be more people, it's going to be hotter, etc. We have done Lake Como, which is gorgeous. So that is in the north. So you can, I suppose you can land in Milano. You can see Milano briefly. You can see it for like, honestly, one night. I wouldn't even recommend any longer. One night is perfect. Then you could take the train and you can go to Lake Como, Lago di Como, and you can stay in Bellagio. And you usually arrive in Varenna, but I like to stay in Bellagio, and you can see Bellagio, Varenna. You can see so many places. You can go to Leno and see Villa Pianello. It's just incredible. That is the northern area. You can do Florence as well. A lot of people love Florence. For me, it's beautiful. I just didn't have that emotional connection for Florence as the way I do with Rome. But if you do end up in Florence, I recommend like a night or two. But if you're nights, you need to go to Tuscany, and you need to do a Tuscan wine tour because it is an incredible experience. But definitely you can even skip that and you can go right to Rome. And I recommend staying in Rome for at least 4 nights, okay? You need at least 4 nights in Rome. Rome is beautiful. It is my favorite city in the world, but I understand how some people might not have that connection with Rome. I immediately loved Rome, but I suppose I didn't have that connection with Rome until I kept going back and going back and going back, and just everything about Rome. Even the I Romani, you know, the Roman people, they have this like character that they're very lighthearted. They don't take themselves too seriously. They're very joking, almost to the point that they can even come across as rude. But that's probably my favorite Italian accent, is the Roman accent. Oh, I love it. Rome, and then if you want to do the south, oh my gosh, beautiful places like you can do, of course, the Amalfi Coast. Oh, you could do the Amalfi Coast. You can even do Sorrento. You could take the boat to Capri. Then you could do the Amalfi Coast. You could do Positano. You can stay in Amalfi, the actual city. You can see so many things. Oh my god. You can go to Ravello, and you can go to the beautiful Villa Cimbrone there. Oh my gosh, so many things I recommend. Also, if you can go to Sicily. I particularly went to Sicily only once in my life and I loved it. I would love to go back. You can stay in Taormina, near Taormina. You can see the Giardini Naxos there. You can see so many beautiful things. And you can eat delicious food. The more south you go, the better the food, to be honest. So, in terms of beauty, I feel as though Lake Como and Amalfi are both so beautiful, but you definitely eat better in Amalfi. So yeah, those are just the few cities that are coming to mind right now. The more popular cities, you can say, but yeah, that's what I would do. 2 weeks. I hope I answered your question okay. Ciao. Next question is from Victor C. Hello, Victor. You're a big supporter of mine. Thank you. And you said, were you in a sorority in college? Were you ever a cheerleader or ever in track like GB? You know I love GB. Canadian college, we call it university, first of all. We do have college, but I suppose we would just call it university. And we don't really have that like all-American, like football cheerleader vibe. It's not a very common thing. Although it exists, it's not very common. It's funny about GB. I don't think I knew that about GB, track like GB. I suppose if I had to pick a sport, it would be track, which is funny. I just said that, but no, I was never in any sports or any extracurricular activities of any kind. I was the kind of person who went to school and then immediately wanted to leave and go home and talk to all of my internet friends. I've always been that kind of person, so yeah, definitely. I wasn't in that kind of sorority vibe. It's a little bit different in Canada than the States, I suppose you can say. So thank you, Victor, for your question. That's very interesting. Next question is from Esme. Esme, thank you so much for asking a question, and I see you in the comments often, so I appreciate it. And you said, since this is for when you have reached the 10K, how does it feel? I hope you're proud of yourself. You're doing so great. Cheers, Esme. As I said, it's been a goal of mine, and I feel really good, and I feel as though I'm in a place in my ASMR career where I feel like I'm getting really inspired lately, and I have a lot of videos right now. For someone who's a procrastinator, I have a lot of videos pre-recorded, uploaded, ready to go. I have a good schedule going. I'm feeling very optimistic about things, and I feel just very inspired. So I suppose 10K has made me feel inspired. Although oddly enough, there's like a tiny bit of anxiety that comes with it, which was unexpected for me, but yeah, I just suppose that's how I would describe it. Inspiration with just a little bit of anxiety for some reason, but I'm just excited for whatever else is to come, and yeah, thank you, Esme, for asking. That's really sweet of you. Next is from Rach Lizard. Hello, Rach. I see all of you in the comments, so it's really nice. It's just so nice seeing you again. And you said, do you like to cook? What is your ultimate comfort food? Yay, for almost 10K, you deserve it. Thank you, Rach. this is a good question because I can talk about food all the time. I actually love to cook, so I like to cook anything. And I don't just like cooking particularly only Italian food. I like to cook everything. Like I recently just made a Thai dish. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have probably seen. I like to sometimes taste a new dish, and then it's almost like I can taste something and get a feel for what that is, and then I can just recreate it myself just based on the flavors I tasted. I almost don't even need to look at a recipe. So yeah, that's why I like trying new cuisine and exploring and traveling, because I'll taste things and I'll know immediately like how to make it, or it will give me inspiration for my own cuisine. So I love to cook. What is my ultimate comfort food? Anything, I really love mashed potatoes. So anything that's like carby, or even like a good plate of gnocchi, like a hearty pasta gnocchi with like a meat sauce and like tons of grated Parmesan cheese on top. When it comes to pasta, I don't like my pasta with so much sauce. I actually want to taste the pasta itself, so I just love gnocchi with like a good meat sauce and like even more cheese than like sauce, if you can imagine. I love Parmigiano Reggiano on my pasta, so I think anything comforting is just like something very carby. Funny how gnocchi is made with actually potatoes as well, but based on my 23andMe, I found out that I have a little bit of celiac, so I have like one of the two variants, and it makes so much sense because all my life I've had digestive issues and I didn't know why. And sometimes I would think it was coming from dairy, but it's actually coming from not carbs, but literally gluten. So flour, those kind of grains, anything like heavy in gluten. So of course the potato part of the gnocchi is fine, but the actual flour is what would give me a bit of a stomach ache. Now I can eat gluten in small quantities and feel fine, but I feel like it's sort of a problem that gets exacerbated as I go on. So anything too overly comforting, like if I eat too much pizza and things like that, just anything very gluten forward. Bread, I love bread, but I'll have digestive issues, which is so sad. Of course I still eat it by all means, but yeah. So my comfort food, of course I always go on these tangents, but it's anything very gluten friendly, even though I shouldn't be having gluten. And yeah, warm, hearty mashed potatoes, something just like warm and like heavy, like any winter dish, you can say. Next question is from In the Tea Room. Ciao, thank you so much. I always, see you in the comments, and I really appreciate you. You said, if you're working, what field of work are you in as your day job? And then you said, be as general as you need to for privacy. So I kind of answered that a little bit. And then you said, and what sort of job or lifestyle, career, housewife, part-time entrepreneur would you ideally like to reach? Interesting. I suppose I ideally would love to do YouTube full-time, but I feel like I know that's not necessarily always so obtainable, and I feel like you always need like side things to keep you going, and I would really love to have something just special and unique of my own. Like, it's really hard to talk about this kind of stuff, but I of course do want to also be a really good mother one day, housewife, etc. These things are kind of things that I like. I like the idea of being very hands-on at home. So any career path that gives me the ability to work from home or be home raising children and, being a little housewife, as old-fashioned as that sounds, I actually like that kind of lifestyle, even though they say like a mother is the most underappreciated job, and I do believe that's true, because you don't get any thanks when you're a mother. Not that I'm a mother and I can really say, but I just can only imagine. You do so much around the house, raising your babies and taking care of your family, and it's sort of like a thankless job. But even still, I would love to be that one day. So that would sort of be ideal, to sort of balance work life with real life. Work and pleasure would be really nice. So thank you so much for your question. I really appreciate you. Next is from Tyler Naquin, and you said, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. What's up? Question 1. what's your opinion on the socioeconomic climate in this tumultuous country? And 2, what is your opinion on the color blue? I don't know if you are messing with me because these 2 questions are so contradictory. Not contradictory, but like extremely serious and extremely lighthearted. The socioeconomic climate in this tumultuous country. I don't know what country you're referring to because I am Canadian. But I suppose if you're American, we are pretty similar. The socioeconomic climate is insane. It's really messed up right now, in my opinion. But I don't want to comment too much because I don't know what country you're referring to. I can speak for Canada, and there are, of course, so many imbalances in the system. It is almost as though if you are born in, for example, poverty, you're destined for poverty and for a life that is not fruitful. And it's really tragic because it's almost as though you are set up for failure if you are, you're not given the same opportunities as someone who's just naturally born into a better lifestyle, a better social class. It's really hard for me to comment on this, but I just feel as though it's imbalanced and unfair, and I suppose that is the way of the world. Maybe it's like that everywhere. What is your opinion on the color blue? The color blue is a beautiful color. I see it in nature, and when you do, it is spectacular. For example, if you follow me on Instagram, I sometimes photograph blue jays, and when you see blue in nature, I mean, of course you see blue in nature with water and sky and things like that, but when you see blue in nature on an animal, it is just incredible. I love the color blue. It's beautiful. And I don't know if my eye color is blue or green. It's something I just can't quite figure out, so I have a positive feeling on the color blue. Next question. Oh, Victor. Okay, so you asked another question. Victor, I didn't see the second question follow-up, and you said, Victor Z, you have a nice fashion style, Lisa. Where do you get your fashion style from? Any influencers, celebrities, family, other? Last question, are you into interior decorating? Thanks for reading my questions. Oh, that's cute. Okay. My fashion, I don't get my fashion from influencers. I don't know. I've always sort of been into fashion, but also I'm a creature of habit and comfort. So when I come home, I instantly, TMI, but I instantly take off my bra and I put on a comfortable t-shirt or pajama, and I just get into comfortable pajama pants or shorts or whatever, and I'm just like free as a bird, just like super comfortable. So like wearing things that are like so tight and form-fitting at home, it wouldn't exist for me. But when I go out, I do like to dress up, and I don't know, it's so hard because sometimes I like a more like fun, experimental fashion, and sometimes I like this very classic, like Bridgerton-esque fashion. It's really difficult to say. I don't know. That sort of stumps me, but I don't particularly borrow my fashion from any celebrities or influencers, although I'm sure we're all influenced without realizing. But I will say that my fashion sense, like at least in terms of clothing, I don't spend a lot on clothing. Everything I own is very inexpensive. Last question, are you into interior decorating? And if so, explain your decor style. Interior decorating, I am very into. I would say that my style, if I had to choose one, I often go back and forth between different styles because sometimes I like the clean, minimalistic look. Sometimes I like this comforting mishmash of French country chic, like shabby chic, I suppose you can say, just like mixing like old things with like delicate things, and I like a lot of like clean colors, but also I don't know, it's really hard to describe my sort of interior decor style. I do know that when we get to live in our home, my fiance and I, I'm going to have fun decorating. However, if you move into a home and you have to decorate it from scratch, it's very challenging and it is difficult to find your style and what works for you. And I find that you often will, you'll pick something that you're so set on and then you'll just get sick of it a year later. It's very easy for that to happen. My one decor tip for anyone is to not get any glass tables coffee tables, dining room tables, don't get glass. You will hate cleaning it. That's my one piece of advice. Thank you so much again, Victor. Next question is from Cups of Fix. And you said, I know I'm not considered a new sub, haha, but this wasn't just for new subscribers, so I'm glad you participated. And you said, I already had fun asking a question, but I'll ask both. A question for you and a question for me. Something about me. I was never really into musical theater like High School Music. That's an example. But when it comes to the Phantom of the Opera, I gotta say, I just love the story aspect and the songs, especially Point to No Return. That's cute that you shared something about yourself, because I did want to learn more about you all as I post these questions, so I do appreciate that. And you said, my next question is, what are some of your favorite hobbies that you love doing besides YouTube? And if it includes music, what is your favorite song? That's really cute. My favorite hobbies used to be drawing and painting and artistic things, and unfortunately I haven't done that in years, and that's so bad. I really need to, but I would have to say it's definitely cooking, and in particular baking. I've wanted to incorporate baking on this channel for so long, but for reasons I can't quite explain, I haven't done that. I just feel like it would intersect too much with certain things, and I don't know, but I love baking, and I love even baking ASMR videos. Why haven't I done that? I don't know. I know that is something you might like to see, because sometimes I get questions about that, and I would love to bake for you. I just haven't incorporated that, which I should. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily include music, but I love music. I just love listening. I think who doesn't love music? You know, music is so special. I'm going to a concert soon, which I'm really excited about, and it's just really nice to get out there again and to do these fun activities post-pandemic, you know. So thank you so much for the question. I said, when it comes to the Phantom of the Opera, I think I responded to you. I said that I like the song Stranger Than You Dreamt It from the Phantom of the Opera movie. I love that song when it comes to musicals. I like anything that's very dramatic. Like even, for example, when it comes to The Little Mermaid, I love the song when Ursula sings Poor Unfortunate Souls. Oh my gosh, I just love it. I love the drama of it all, you know, so I really do enjoy that. So thank you for your question, Cups Up Picks. I really appreciate you. Next question is from Enigmatic Insomniac. What do you do for work outside of YouTube? Okay, I asked that. How did you and your fiance meet? Good question. No one asked this question yet, and did I say this question? I don't know if I said this, but I might have said that in my little chit chat video post proposal, but my fiance and I met through online dating. Can you believe it? And it's a very interesting story. I personally hadn't technically online dated before him, and so when I got out of my last relationship before him, I knew that I wanted to find my person through online dating, and I knew that would work out for me. I just had a feeling, because what the heck are the odds of meeting someone organically these days? Can someone please tell me, because it feels impossible to meet the person you're meant to be with. And I knew that I would find my person online. I just knew it. And I thought, I have to be the one to go through, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. It's true. I have to be the one to go through tons of people until I find my person. And the funny thing is that when I was single, I wasn't ready to online date yet. I just wanted to relax and chill and what have you. I traveled. I had an amazing year. And then when I was ready, I went online and I went on 2 dating sites. I think I went on Tinder and Bumble. This is so TMI, but I think it's juicy, so I'm going to tell you all. And I just had so many matches, and I found it very hard to keep up. And some people were just asking the same questions like, sup, how's your day? All this boring stuff that I could care less about talking about. And it got to the point where it was overwhelming, and there were some people that could have been a potential, but it wasn't working out for me. And I'm from the old school MSN days where you talk to your online crush for years. And so I knew that when I met when I met the person that I would want to be the one for me, I knew that it would have to be a person who would be comfortable talking online and on the phone for at least a few weeks before we decided to finally meet, because so many people have like the idea that like, who knows if people are scared of catfishing or things like that, but so many people are afraid of wasting time, so they don't want to put forward the effort to actually talk to someone and get to know them before they meet, because they fear as though it won't work out. But I can tell you, you waste so much more time like cycle dating and going through a million people and just going on, oh, this Friday I have a date, this Wednesday I have a date. No, for me what worked was finding the one special person. I'm so sorry, I hear like a million kids yelling, but I'm really passionate about this speech right now. So what worked out for me was finding the one person, which in my case is my now fiance. And when we finally spoke, after the first conversation, I just knew it would be something. And then like immediately after, like a few days later, we spoke on the phone, and we spoke for hours on the phone. And he did not give me the pressure of like, when are we going to meet? When we just spoke for hours getting to know each other. And then we kept calling each other and speaking, and it almost became a ritual. Like every night we would call each other, we would speak to each other. And it was like so exciting, to the point that me, the person who was always like, please, like stop asking me out, like give me time, to the point that I was like, when are we gonna go out? I was actually like anticipating going out with him. I was really excited about it. So we didn't meet for almost a month after we spoke. We just spoke and we built this connection, to the point that when we had our first date, it was so special. I'm getting out of myself. So before it got to that point, I had to delete Tinder, because everyone like was just messaging me and I couldn't keep up. And I was like, I deleted Tinder and I was like, I'm going to focus on Bumble, because I can see who I want to talk to. And then it can be more like my choice and going from there. And I'm not someone who would ever make the first move in real life. So it's interesting. So when I finally deleted that app and I focused on one app, shortly after I met my now fiance, and as you can say, the rest is history. So we met through online dating, and it's really nice because you get to cycle through people and you get to really like fine tune who will work for you. And if there's any red flags, you just like, no, because there's so many. It's true, there are a lot of fish in the sea, and there really are, and I do believe there's someone for everyone. So if you're at the point where you're dabbling with, not sure if you want to put yourself out there for online dating, you absolutely should, because when I tell you, the man of your dreams, the woman of your dreams, the person of your dreams, they're not just going to burst through your window one day and like rescue you in the night. It's not going to happen. You have to go forward and make that effort to meet who you want. So I would say when I'm finally ready, I put myself out there, and I was really ready to have that. So my only online date is my now fiance. So I think that's pretty special. Thank you for the question, Enigmatic Insomniac, and I hope to see more from you in the comment section down below. Next is from Nade. Nade, I see you all the time. Thank you so much, Nade. And you said, okay, what is that one advice that you would want to give to everyone? One advice that I want to give to everyone, it's that life is so short, and don't take yourself so seriously. I mean, I feel like we can often take ourselves so seriously, and we focus so much on these like awful things, these issues that bring us down, and we like hate the feeling maybe that the news gives to us, but we keep watching news and consuming news, and maybe we're sad on social media and we care too much about what other people think. Just honestly, just stop it. Don't take yourself too seriously, and just really be yourself, because I'm telling you, you're going to hit a point in your life where you're like, I don't care what other people think, and it's going to be so liberating and so freeing. And of course, we always care to a degree, you don't want to ever think that people dislike you or something, but you're going to get to a point where you're so comfortable with yourself, and you're going to wish that you cared so much less about the opinions of others, because other people's opinions can affect us and can influence us. And for example, if it wasn't for like maybe my fear of starting this ASMR channel, I would have started years ago, and I would have even been more, who knows, maybe more successful at it, or just more free to not care about people's opinions. But I just honestly feel as though just do things that make you happy and don't care about what other people think of you. If you're happy, that is the most important thing. Do things that make you feel authentically you know, that speak to your soul, that spark joy in yourself. And I promise you the rest will follow through, because anyone who's judging you, they're not happy with themselves, and that is a fact. So that's, I suppose, the advice that I could come up with at the top of my head right now. I feel like I need a drink after that. Okay. Next is from Arise van der Merwe. I hope I'm pronouncing that okay. Rise said, if you looked at your crush from a window, would you just stare at him or confront him? If I saw my crush in a window, would I stare or confront him? I suppose it sort of means would I make the first move? The answer is no. I'm not someone who makes the first move. I suppose I would stare and hope that they made the first move. So hopefully, to answer your question, I would just stare. But thank you for your question, Rise. Next is from K/S. Do you have any pets, and what is your favorite animal? Do you have a dream pet? I think I talked about that a lot. I had little Luna here for a little while. I have pets. I have a beautiful little long-haired chihuahua named Luna. She's so adorable. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see me post her from time to time. I love dogs. Before Luna, I had Summer, my beautiful, also long-haired chihuahua. Funny enough, after having these little chihuahuas, I always said I wanted a bigger dog, and then I ended up getting the smallest dog that I've ever had, so it's pretty interesting. In terms of a dream pet, I suppose I'm just a dog person, so I just feel as though I'll always have dogs in my life. I just love dogs so much. But if it had to be a dream pet, I suppose I would want maybe like a pet dragon or something fun. Thank you for your question, KS. We're almost done. Oh my gosh. Next is from Freddie Zamora. Freddie said, the best questions I'm going to be asking you is, what do you like to do for your free time? Do you like to go to the beach or to the park? Personally, those types of places I like to go to clear my head. Thank you, Freddie. I wish that where I lived we had an actual good beach nearby, in the sense that I wish we had an ocean and I could have salt water. We don't have that. We have lakes and things like that. I feel the most alive when I can be near a body of water. So I even touched upon this in this video, but of course I go to a park often with my sister. I go for walks. I clear my head too in nature. If I'm ever depressed or sad for any particular reason, I find that being outside in nature, and any nature, beach, park, forest, especially a forest path, it just clears my head and it makes me feel so good. So being in nature is truly like healing for me. So thank you for the question, Freddie. I hope I answered that, but I feel so good when I'm at those places, anywhere in nature. And lastly, Mr. Flex, nice to meet you. I am Mr. Flex. Nice to meet you too. I think those were all the questions, unless there were some questions in questions that I didn't answer. I just want to quickly check. I missed someone's question once in a video and I felt just awful about it. It just simply did not show up for me. So I hope that's not the case. I think that I did answer everyone's questions. Just in case, I'm going to put news first. Did I respond to everyone? I think I responded to everyone, so I think I did answer every question. And I have a sip of champagne left. Cheers! Thank you so much for being here with me. I do apologize for talking your ear off, but if you enjoyed, then I don't apologize, but you're welcome. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A session with me. Some questions were quite personal, to the point that I'm crying, even though you didn't ask. And some were just really lighthearted and fun. If there's any topic that I covered that you would like me to expand on or to talk more about, or maybe we can make it like a thing on my channel, I would really like that. But oh my gosh, I love hearing from you. I love having you all as subscribers and as friends. Just seeing you comment in the community tab and just knowing that I have like a connection with you. Like if I'm like, oh, this person commented, I I feel like I know you when I see you quite often, so I really do appreciate the love and the support, and of course, your engagement with my channel. I'm sure it helps it grow in some algorithmy way, so I do appreciate your support. It means so much to me, and I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, am so thankful for you all, and I truly love you all. You keep me sane in this insane world. Maybe you can hear noises for which I do really apologize, but it's just the time of day that I'm filming. There seem to be kids playing and dogs playing and all that. I'm getting off on a tangent, but my second battery is about to die. I finished the questions. I finished a bottle of celebratory champagne. I hope you didn't mind that I did drink alcohol for this video, but it's a pretty rare thing for me, so anywho, thank you so much for 10K. You are the best, and I do look forward to celebrating more videos in the future. If I ever hit another milestone, I would love to know your suggestions on the kind of content that I should create in order to celebrate. But thank you so much. These flowers were from my fiance for hitting 10K, so that was really sweet of him for being so supportive and loving. And yeah, I just really just appreciate the support. I feel so loved.